Well, that came about because of my youngest brother. I come from a large family, and my kid brother came round one evening and said, "I know nothing about the family whatsoever. Can you tell me something about it?" And we had a long discussion then and other evenings as well. And I suddenly realised that it's important to get history like that down in, recorded in some way. Otherwise it's lost. So I started to write about family matters.
And what did you find out?
Well, I found out several things really. Interestingly, one of my uncles, they lived in Borough, my mum's a Cockney, he was found guilty of stealing sugar from the barges, Tatenlar barges on the River Lee navigation. And he had, I think it was 4 strokes of birch and sent away up to the north of England on a farm for a year. He liked it so much that when the year was up, he didn't want to come home. And he stayed with the farmer, who on his death left Uncle Bert a field and 2 sow in litter. And from that humble beginning, a huge business arose, and he's quite well to do in that, up in that part of Cheshire.
And your love of history as well stemmed that you attend the local history society?
Yes, I mean the local history society I started attending about, 20-25 years ago. A wonderful group of people who have very interesting talks. They fascinate me, they educate me, and I'm sure that's true of all the others who go there. About 100 people or thereabouts attend each time.
I mean, you say 100. I mean, that's one of the most well-attended meetings that
it certainly is, and they really deserve that, because they do keep alive, and amongst their membership they have written books and all that sort of thing to record. It's very necessary for us as human beings to know what happened in the past, so we can judge where we are today and for the future as well.
So you must be very encouraged by things like this week the 1911 census has gone online, and it's almost crashed because of the amount of interest. So do you think history, the past, is the future?
I think there's more and more interest growing, because as you know, today's society, some of us would say is a bit crazy, but people are interested in where they come from and that sort of thing, particularly because our society is changing, new people coming in and all the rest of it.
And when it comes to the history in Thurrock, you've written several books on certain areas. For example, Tilbury, I believe.
Yes. I was born in Tilbury, Kipling Avenue. I'm very, very proud of that. And one day I was sitting here sort of listening to people talk, and I thought I'll have to record the history of Tilbury. And it's a very interesting place, from a few farms on the marshes to a modern town. And I got into that and produced this little book.
And the book's called?
It's called Nanny Goes Island.
Okay, so to an outsider like myself, what's Nanny Goes Island?
Well, you have to be a true Tilbury person to know what Nanny Goes Island means. Indeed, it was a description of the town in the early days, when indeed it did have a lot of goats tethered around the town, and horses, some of which broke free and trotted around, and that continued up to modern days really.
And as a journalist, one of the first stories I reported on down in Tilbury was to do with the police, and that's the first time I heard the word gathers. Are there other words in Tilbury? Is there a rich dialect?
Well, I mean, that generally comes from the mix of people, but mainly from the Romany people who used to camp